All right, welcome to The Explainer. If you're setting out to tackle the CPA exam, you know it's an absolute beast. But don't worry, we're here to help you make sense of it all. Think of this as your roadmap, your ultimate quest guide for turning that mountain of information into a clear path to becoming a certified public accountant. So, you've decided to do it. You want to be a CPA. That's a huge first step. Seriously. You're at the very beginning of a really demanding, but trust me, incredibly rewarding journey. This explainer is all about giving you a clear-cut guide through the whole thing, from the first application all the way to exam day. Okay, let's just get this straight from the get-go. What is a CPA? Well, at its core, it's not just some fancy certificate you hang on the wall. It's a professional license. It's granted by one of the 55 U.S. states or territories. And it means you've met the super high standards needed to protect the public's financial interest. It's really the gold standard in the accounting world. All right, to get through this whole CPA thing, you first have to understand who you're dealing with and what the rules of the game are. So let's meet the key players and break down how this exam is actually structured. It can feel like you're lost in some kind of bureaucratic maze, but it's actually pretty simple when you break it down. You've basically got four main partners on this journey. First, there's your state's Board of Accountancy. They're the boss. They approve your application and, in the end, give you your license. Then you've got NASBA. Think of them as the main administrators. They process your application, send you your scores, and give you that all-important notice to schedule. Prometric? That's the physical testing center. That's where you'll actually go to take the exam. And finally, the AICPA. They're the ones who write and grade the test itself. See? Knowing who does what is half the battle. So what does this test actually look like now? Well, it's kind of like a choose-your-own-adventure deal. Everybody, no matter what, has to pass 3 core sections. That's auditing, financial accounting and reporting, and regulation. But then you get to pick one discipline to specialize in. Your choices are business analysis and reporting, information systems and controls, or tax compliance and planning. This is great because it lets you tailor the exam a little bit to where you want to take your career. So how are they going to grade you? Well, it's not just about memorizing a bunch of facts. For pretty much every section, your score is an even 50-50 split. Half comes from your standard multiple choice questions, the MCQs, and the other half comes from these really in-depth problems called task-based simulations, or TBSs. That means you have to actually apply what you know. You can't just regurgitate it. The only little exception here is the ISC discipline, which is a bit more MCQ heavy at 60-40. All right, you know the players, you know the game. So what's next? Well, now it's time for you to make your first move, getting your ticket to the test. This is all the administrative stuff you got to get through. The official guides can be a little dense, but really, the whole application process boils down to these 6 steps. 1. Get your education evaluated. 2. Apply for the exam sections you want to take. 3. You'll get your notice to schedule. That's your golden ticket. 4. Schedule your actual exam with Prometric. 5. Go take the exam. And 6. Wait for your score. Simple enough, right? Okay, if you remember one thing, just one thing from this whole section, make it this. The notice to schedule, or NTS, is everything. I'm not kidding. The official guide literally puts it in all caps. You will not be permitted to take the exam without this document. You have to physically print it out and bring it with you. No NTS, no test, period. So the second that NTS hits your inbox or your mailbox, you need to open it and check it immediately. First thing, does your name on there exactly match your driver's license or passport? No typos, no nicknames. It has to be a perfect match. Then, double-check that the right exam sections are listed. And most importantly, find that expiration date. You must take the exam before that date or you lose all your money. That is a hard deadline you absolutely cannot miss. Okay, Act 2. You've battled the bureaucracy, you've got your NTS in hand. Now comes the real quest, actually studying for this thing. This is where you're going to spend most of your time and energy. You're going to open the books and feel totally overwhelmed. It's normal. But this quote from a successful candidate on Reddit really nails the right mindset. They said, it's not about knowing every detail about every topic. And that's so true. The goal isn't to become a walking encyclopedia. It's about being competent across all the big ideas. You have to learn how to study strategically, not just memorize everything. Here's a little piece of insider wisdom that's going to save you a lot of anxiety. A lot of people find that the practice questions you get in review courses, like the ones from Becker, are actually way harder than the questions on the real exam. And that's on purpose. They're designed to over-prepare you. So if you're struggling with those practice questions and feeling discouraged, don't panic. It probably means you're right on track. So how do you turn all this into an actual plan? Well, one top scorer on Reddit laid out this fantastic, super structured approach. Basically, treat it like a job. Cover new material during the week, maybe plan lectures at double speed to save time, and then use your weekends to review. Once you've been through the material, you move into a review phase. You take mock exams to find your weak spots, and then, as they put it, you just grind multiple choice questions in custom practice sets to hammer it all home. And here it is, a piece of advice that is screamed from the rooftops by both the official guides and pretty much every candidate who's passed. Take the AICPA's sample test. It is the absolute closest thing you will get to the real exam software, the layout, the tools, the whole experience. Do yourself a huge favor and take it so there are zero surprises on the big day.
This is it, the climax of your quest. You've done the prep work, you've studied your butt off, and now it is time to face the final boss, exam day itself. Let's walk through how to survive the test center so you can go in with confidence.
Okay, here is something that trips a lot of people up. Your appointment time is 4.5 hours, but the actual exam is only 4 hours long. So what's that extra 30 minutes for? It's for all the administrative stuff, checking in, going through the intro screens, and a standardized break. It is not extra testing time, so please don't get caught off guard by that. Prometric is, well, they're really serious about security. You have to put basically everything you own in a locker. I'm talking your phone, your watch, any food or drink, even your own pens and erasers. They provide everything. Wedding rings are usually okay, but most other jewelry has to come off. Honestly, when in doubt, just leave it in your car. The check-in process can feel a little intense, but if you know it's coming, it's no big deal. Plan to get there at least 30 minutes early. You'll show them your NTS and 2 forms of ID, then they'll take your picture, get your fingerprint, and they'll scan you with a handheld metal detector wand. It's basically like airport security. Just expect it, and you'll be fine. Okay, now this is a critical warning. Once you sit down and enter your launch code, a 5-minute timer starts. You have exactly 5 minutes to read and click through a few introductory and policy screens. Do not get distracted here. If you take longer than 5 minutes, your exam will automatically terminate. It's over, and you forfeit your fee. This is not a drill. Click through the screens right away. Phew, you did it. You survived the exam. So, what happens now? Let's talk about the final part of this journey, getting that score and what you need to do next. 75. This is the magic number. It's going to live rent-free in your head for a while. It's the minimum score you need to pass each section of the exam. And remember, a 75 is a perfect score. It gets you the exact same pass as a 95. So don't stress about scoring higher. Just aim for 75. 18. This is the other number that matters just as much. Once you pass your very first section, a timer starts. You have exactly 18 months to pass the other 3. If you don't make it in that window, that first passing score expires and you have to take it again. The whole system is built around keeping your momentum going. Look, the CPA exam is a marathon. It demands strategy, a ton of dedication, and a whole lot of resilience. But the path isn't a secret. It's tough, for sure, but it's clear. The map is in your hands, you know the rules, and you know what the reward is. The entire quest is laid out right in front of you. So, are you ready to start your journey?